Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Today we subbed out Justin for Joe Thomas. Boo! No.
Thanks, guys.
Just messing with you. That was just our way of, again, sending a huge thank you to Joe Thomas for coming on the show last week. We really appreciate it. If you guys didn't get to check out the interview with Joe, make sure you guys go check it out. We're happy to have Justin here, obviously.
Yeah. So I'm glad to be here, dog.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Today we got a fun episode lined up for you guys. Going to talk about the schedule that was released, some speculation on what the quarterback depth chart might look like once mini camp starts up. Before we get into it, though, remember, if you want to get your intros and your voicemails on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out. You can also just listen to the show on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Just search at the Dogs Podcast on any of the social media platforms. You'll find us there. And lastly, if you're looking for more dogs content, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, get access to the private Discord, play fantasy football with us. The signups for fantasy football are going to start June 1st. So you got about 10 days, 9 days, whatever day it is today, before the signups start. You don't want to miss your spot in one of those leagues. So we have 4 or 5 redraft leagues last year, plus multiple dynasty leagues. So make sure you jump in there, play fantasy football, get access to the private Discord, hang out with everybody. It's just a good time for everybody involved. So that's jointhedogs.com to become an official Dog Pack member. And then one more thing I wanted to mention. If you're local, T County, all the way down to Guernsey County, Stark County, heck, even if you're up in Summit, just anywhere, around local to Dover, Ohio, New Philly, Ohio, on June 21st from noon to 5 at Wabash Lanes in Philly, the Tuscarawas County Browns backers are going to be hosting their big Bowl with the Stars event. A bunch of former Browns players are going to be there. A current Browns player is going to be there. Hawley, right?
Yeah, Ralph Hawley.
Hawley's going to be there. Sugar Dre Donovan's going to be there. Local boxing champ. It's going to be a great time. So if you want to bowl with some Browns legends, both current Browns player, get autographs, pictures, all that good stuff. Wabash Lanes, New Philadelphia, Ohio, June 21st from noon to 5. It's going to be a great time, so make sure you stop in, say hello, bowl with some Browns players.
And we'll also be live streaming from the event. So if you can't make it in or you're not local or whatever, just tune into YouTube, check us out, or Facebook, wherever you guys are watching, and we'll be live. We'll be interviewing Ralph Hawley and some of these other guys on the show, and
very cool.
We'll have a good time that day.
Yep, it's going to be awesome. So, again, that's noon to 5, Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio. If you're within an hour, it's going to be a good event. Make sure you guys pop in, have some fun. So, today, we got a fun one to get into. I think we have a voicemail from Brad, our good friend Brad. Do we just want to kick it off with him?
Let's do it.
Hey, you guys. What's up, Browns fans? Hey, guess what? You want to hear a sound? Yep. That's a good one right there. Yep. Everybody get out their cold ones. So the schedule release. One schedule release video. I could have made a better one drunk, probably. That was pretty mediocre. Just probably like how the season's going to go. Keeping my expectations, there's like a sub-basement below the basement. Right in there. Somewhere in there. I'm predicting maybe 4 wins at most. Maybe get lucky 5. I don't know. But probably less. It's pretty rough. So, yeah, let's go. I'm ready to get hurt again. Let's go, Browns fans. Woof, 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 woo.
When he said when he said he expects the season to be mediocre, I was like, optimistic, are we?
Yes. Glass half full kind of guy.
Yes. Ooh, we're going to hit mediocre this year?
Holy moly.
Man, Sign me up. I'm excited.
Sign me up for mediocre.
I'm not expecting mediocre. I'm expecting much, much, much worse.
Can we touch on one thing he talked about?
Yeah.
Man, that video was so strange.
I didn't even watch it.
I watched like the first couple, like 10 seconds or so. I'm like, what is even happening?
It was very
is it something like for the young kids? Like, is it?
Yeah, it felt like it could be something like, I felt like they were just trying to do like cool special effects things, but then like I don't know, just kind of just was all over the place. It's like there was tie-ins and said like they were smearing, the terrible towel and the chili or whatever, or buffalo wings. I can't remember which one it was. It was bad.
I know.
Very dumb.
That's a huge step down from the one they did with Bowling Legend.
Yeah.
Yes. Pete Weber. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to top that.
Expectations are high.
Yes.
At least for the schedule release video.
We'll call this mediocre.
This was mediocre.
So, I guess let's just talk about the schedule then here. It's obviously early, but we have it. We know who we're going to be playing and when. First reactions to this. I know what mine were. I saw it, I looked at it, and I went, man, it's going to suck when we're 0-8 at the bye.
Yeah, that is.
I don't know what you guys thought. That was my immediate reaction.
I thought you did the same noise as me. I just went, So you were real close. I just did a very, and then I looked at it like top to bottom, and it was like kind of the same thing. I was like, holy crap. We legit could lose every game up to the bye.
So I go ahead, Josh. Give us your immediate thoughts before we dive a little deeper.
My immediate thought right away was Bengals at home week 1. Hell, the last time we did this, we beat the living shit out of them. It was 24-3. I look at this, at least the way it starts week 1, and think, I mean, with competent quarterback play and that same type of defense, got to be that same defense that we played in 2023 in week 1, but we could start 1-0. Now, after that, doesn't look too great, but
I like your optimism, and we did have their number for many a times
up until last year when we just decided we were going to run a completely different offense. It didn't work, and still we almost beat them in Cleveland last year. It was close.
This is one of those things. So my immediate reaction was, 0-8. It's gonna be tough. And then if I look at it a little bit more objectively, I think, okay, we can beat the Bengals at home week 1. I think the Steelers offense we could either win that game 3-0 or lose that game 3-0.
That's a toss up. That's a pick 'em right
because that might be like a TJ Watt strip sack kind of win for them because I think their offense is maybe worse than ours. Their quarterback situation's worse.
The quarterback situation.
They'd kill us for Joe Flacco.
I will say this though, and I'm taking last year off the table because that was Ken Dorsey garbage crap. In 2023, when we played the Steelers at home, at least, remember it was a DTR game. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, Kevin managed the living crap out of that game just to make it close, and we didn't have Nick Chubb. It was Jerome Ford and stuff. We're gonna have a better run game this year. I don't know. If their offense is Mason Rudolph or Will Howard, whatever, a rookie, it could be an interesting matchup.
Sure. Yeah, so my immediate thoughts were 0-8, but then if I start picking it apart and I start thinking like an optimistic Browns fan, which why any of those
it's the time
exist,
of year.
Yes. You know what I mean? I think I could pick out a win against the Bengals. I could see us maybe stealing one in Pittsburgh. I'd feel a lot better if that first one was at home.
Okay.
I could see us stealing a game against the Dolphins, depending on is Tua alive still or not.
Sure. Okay.
I think the Patriots are going to be much improved this year, but I still think they have TreVeyon Henderson and Drake May.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs.
But who knows?
I know.
What I mean?
But
I just think there's a lot to be desired still offensively for them. They got Ramondre Stevenson too, but that's going to be a tough game. But I could see, like, depending on how much work Mike Vrabel needs to do to turn that around, are they going to do it in 1 year? Is it a 2-year thing? Maybe we could take one there, but as much as I can pick apart maybe 3 or 4 wins, would not be shocked if we're winless at the bye. Would be 0% shocked.
No, absolutely not.
Which is just
the range of outcomes for this team right now it's funny. It really
and maybe they'll just come out and shock us and just really just go on a real heater. But
the other thing that I noticed too right away, and obviously because it's color coded, thankfully, the one that they put out, no back-to-back away games this year. We have 2 sets of back-to-back home games, but other than that, it's like alternating every week. Is home away, home away, home away. Of course, we go to London week 5 and then come back and we're on the road again in Pittsburgh in week 7. I think that's going to be a tough part of the schedule right there.
It is nice that if you can find yourself playing meaningful football heading into the last 6 weeks, 4 of your last 6 are at home.
Yeah.
And you got the Titans, but it's a tough, the Bears, I Are they going to be better with Ben Johnson at the helm?
I think so.
Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals. That could be a tough stretch.
Yeah.
So
and the thing that I think we need to say this before we go too further with the schedule. We're talking about this in May. Mm-hmm. By the time we get to week 16 or 17 in December, we have no idea what the injury situation. Quarterbacks are going to go down in camp. Quarterbacks are going to go down in the first half of the season. And like you said, we might not be playing Tua week 7. We might not be playing Caleb Williams in week 15. I don't know.
Well,
we have no idea.
Here's the thing too that makes looking at the schedule this early, at least in the NFL, just I don't want to call it pointless, but just you're going to have a tough time picking winners and losers before we've even seen training camps or preseason games or anything. And rosters is the NFL. There is last to first and first to last teams every year.
Yes. Yep.
So there's teams on this schedule that we're looking at right now that we think are going to be tough, that are going to be those are going to be our easier games. Yeah. And there are games we're looking at now that we think that's a guaranteed win right now. Put it on the books. We don't have many of those. And they're going to be the tough games because there's so much parity and so much roster turnover in the league that it's so hard to predict who is. You have your consistents, your Ravens, your Bills, your Chiefs, but there's so much turnover in terms of roster turnover and stuff like that in the league that it's impossible to be able to tell who's actually going to be good and who's going to be bad this early.
Do you remember, let me take you down memory lane real quick. Do you remember last year when we got the schedule and we looked at that first, what was it, maybe like 8 weeks, and we were like, oh, Raiders, that's a win. Yep. Oh, Commanders, that should be a win. Absolutely. We were all sitting here like
7-1, 6-2.
Yeah. No, those teams got better.
And we got worse.
Yes.
A lot worse.
Yes. So, well, not the Raiders. Huh?
Don't remind me about that game.
Not the Raiders.
Flew all the way across the country.
Not the Raiders.
Get spanked.
They were who we thought they were. And,
Yep.
Yeah. Ouch.
So we'll see what happens here. But it's so much of this. I can't wait to get to like seeing what we're doing on the field.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember when we got to training camp last year, there were like all the reports coming back was like, oh, they don't look that good.
Yeah.
Well,
this offense looks like this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, bullshit. No, the Cleveland media is terrible, which you're not going to hear us defending the local Cleveland media very often, but that everybody was saying it. It wasn't one person. Everybody was like, this does not look good. Doesn't look cohesive. It doesn't look together. We look confused. We look slow. We just do not look good. Deshaun does not look good. Nobody looks good. And we were all like, it's training camp. People are banged up. We haven't even had our full roster out there yet. They haven't got to play together. We're going to be fine. We play the Raiders in week 4. They suck. Last year was only the most painful season of my life.
Yeah. It turns out, I mean, even in the pros, you practice or you play how you practice. And we went up there to training camp. And I remember we were sitting there. We were kind of
very early on went, this is kind of a walkthrough.
It was supposed to be like explosive plays. Remember, like big, big chunk
fireworks.
Plays.
That's
fireworks.
Yeah,
juicy. David and Njoku said juicy, and we're sitting there and we're like, is anything even happening? It was a lot of dump off passes to tight ends and running backs, which we saw in the preseason, which Kenny Mack was complaining about like crazy.
And he was right. Do you remember what we said? I just don't want to show him too much of the playbook.
Yeah, it turns out that was the playbook.
It's preseason. We don't want to give him too much early on, and then that was kind of it.
And and as we get into the preseason, it's like, remember what I was saying last year. I don't care if you look great in the preseason, but I definitely care if you look bad in the preseason.
Right. Yep.
And we looked bad
or non-existent.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like if you look great in the preseason, it doesn't mean anything. But if you look bad in the preseason, there's probably some issues. I would be interested to know how many teams are 0-4 or 0-3 through the preseason and then go on to be good that year. Maybe I'm way off base here, but I just feel like if you look really poor in the preseason, you're most likely not that great. The only teams I can think of that it would maybe not affect is if you're good and just none of your starters ever play in any of the preseason games.
And your third stringers are out there and you're not winning the preseason. Who cares about whether or not you win the game? But like you said with the Browns last year, they looked lost, confused. They didn't know what they were doing. It was
not a lot of chemistry.
Not a lot of chemistry carried through the entire season, all the way to the end.
In the play selection, like we were just talking about, nothing was downfield. Everything was a dump off. It was just I cannot wait to get to football on the field to just put last year. I never want to think about it again.
No,
that was rough. So as we then look into the schedule, as we're seeing that we're going to be 1-8 or 3-4 or 5, whatever it's going to be, then you start thinking about, okay, we're preparing for the future now because this season's lost. Okay. So I think then that kind of leads us into the quarterback discussion this year in the report that Mary Kay put out. So she came out and she said, do you just want to read it? You wanted to get your direct quote you said you had ready?
Yeah, I got what she had in her article. And the first thing, and this isn't exactly in here, but she had come out and said that she believes Kenny Pickett is the front runner for the QB1 spot. Like, it's kind of his job to lose at the moment. Not that he is established QB1 or anything like that, but that he's kind of got that little bit of a leg up. But in her article, she said, in terms of their batting order, meaning the quarterbacks, during team drills. Now, this isn't like individual, offensive reps or anything. This is actual offense against defense team drills. It will likely be Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, number 1 and number 2, and then Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders splitting the number 3 and number 4 reps at the outset, largely based on how and when they were acquired. For example, the Browns set out to draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. They passed on Sanders 6 times before trading up to get him in the 5th. It remains to be seen how they'll split the concurrent passing drills, but placing a rookie with a vet seems to make the most sense. So on that side of things, not the team drills, it sounds like what they're going to do is have 2 offensive units. And that makes sense because you look at all the wide receivers they brought into minicamp. They signed a bunch of guys. We have I forget how many there are, but there's a ton of wide receivers on the roster for camp. So it sounds like they're going to have 2 offensive units, and then one unit is going to be led by Pickett and Gabriel, and the other one's going to be Flacco and Shedeur. Maybe they mix and match them as well. I don't know, but at least that's how it's going to start.
Do you think that's all just to get eyes on every single one of those guys?
Yes.
It's got to be. I think
it might be for the first time in NFL history a legit wide open 4-man quarterback competition.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has. I don't know if they're looking at. I know she said Kenny Pickett's kind of his job to lose, but I think that's just based on they gave up a pick to get him, and he's not 40, and he's not a rookie. I don't think anybody – I think they're all on an even playing field right now in terms of it's going to be whoever plays the best.
The only reason I think Kenny Pickett probably has that leg up in the front runner spot is just because, like you said, they traded for him. He was the first guy they went out to get. They actively sought him out and made the move to get him, and he's got NFL starting experience. I think that's it.
Yeah. This is kind of my feel on the quarterback room right now is I wouldn't be shocked if Kenny Pickett played well in Kevin Stefanski's offense. He can move a little bit, and Kevin has gotten good play out of bad or mediocre quarterbacks before. So would any of us be shocked if Kenny Pickett comes out and looks like a competent player, or at least looks better than any time he ever did in Pittsburgh?
Jacoby Brissett.
I wouldn't be shocked if he looked better than he did in Pittsburgh. I would be shocked if he was like, wow, reclamation project achieved. He's the next Sam Darnold. Like, we got our guy.
Why would you be shocked?
Because I didn't like how he played in Pittsburgh.
Did you like how Sam Darnold played anywhere?
No. So I didn't like how he ended the season in Minnesota. I think we'll see how Sam Darnold does this year, but I think that was
the thing with Pittsburgh too with Kenny is I think that it was a very, very safe play calling, like no risk.
Well,
even then he was
booty.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
nobody has looked good at the quarterback position in Pittsburgh since Big Ben retired. And even he looked bad his last couple years. It's been the same offense forever. Quick screen game, no run game, just nothing. Their offense is stuck in 1995. So I would not be shocked if Kenny Pickett comes out and can play decent football. Also, sneaky intrigued by Dylan Gabriel. Okay? And I don't hate that they drafted him. I think he can do some things. And then I think Shedeur will ultimately be the starter. I think if you put all 4 quarterbacks on our roster, he's the best one.
This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, Memorial Day is almost here, and there is nothing better to do on Memorial Day than grill out some of the best food you can get your hands on. From handcrafted steaks to family grilling favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's absolute best steak experience. And hurry, because right now, during the Memorial Day sale, you guys can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, at checkout. You've got friends, you've got family coming for Memorial Day. You need a variety of options. Get the steaks, get the burgers. The new smash burgers are amazing. Get the brats, get the dogs. They've got desserts. They've got everything you need to make your cookout a huge success. So bring home the world's best steak experience with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide during the Memorial Day sale. And for that extra $35 off, use promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out. That's omahasteaks.com. See site for details.
When was the last time you refreshed your bedding? Sleep cooler with Avocado's naturally breathable, certified organic sheets. Choose from GOTS certified organic cotton, linen, or hemp. All made safe certified to the highest standards of non-toxic safety, delivering the ultimate in luxury, sustainability, and style, and a deeper, more restorative sleep. Join Avocado's mission to be one of the world's most sustainable brands at avocadomattress.com.
The best piece of financial advice I've ever received is to pay yourself first. That's why now with every paycheck I receive, I start by putting a little bit away for those rainy days. Today's episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns recommends a diversified portfolio that can help you weather all of the market's ups and downs. Using Acorns, before I knew it, I had a couple $1,000s in a little nest egg account. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/affirmations or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/affirmations.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
And also, I want to address Shador fans. Calm down. Just because I think Kenny Pickett could play good football and I'm sneaky intrigued by Dylan Gabriel doesn't mean that I don't like Shador. I just said I think he'll be the starter. Just because I said I think Kenny Pickett can play good football doesn't mean I'm racist. Just stop calling everybody racist just because they talk about another quarterback on our team. It's so stupid.
It's ridiculous, man.
And then the only thing I really am adamant about is that I still think Joe Flacco shouldn't be on our team. Just because there's just no point. There's literally no point.
I get that. There at least is potential for down the road with those other 3 guys.
Unless he comes into camp and you just you're like, man, Joe's playing so well. We're making the playoffs with Joe Flacco. If you're going to go 5-12 with him, there's no point for him to be on this team.
The only way that you keep Joe on the team, I think, to start the season is if Kenny Pickett, you don't feel like is ready to be the week 1 starter. The rookies don't need to be.
Right.
They've got some time to, we don't need to have a rookie start week 1. We're going to see them at some point, most likely. But if Kenny Pickett comes out and they're like, this isn't what we thought, we need to keep Joe because the veterans on the team, the other players on the team, they still want to at least be competitive. And you don't want to throw them out there before they're ready.
Well, and I think a lot of them are thinking, man, last time Joe was on the team, we were doing pretty good.
Yeah. Joe Thomas said, the veterans are probably hoping it's Flacco. I think Joel Bitonio came out and had a quote, said, we just want the best chance to win. Like the players want to win. So I get that.
I guess I'll concede that. Basically the quarterback competition for me then in camp is Shador and Dylan are safe. And it is whichever one of the vets looks the best between Joe, then they get to stay, and then Joe and Kenny, and then the other one's gone.
Yeah, if Kenny comes out and it's like, okay, he can run the offense, he's going to be all right for us, then you just get rid of Joe because you traded for Kenny, you gave up the capital to get him and a player, so you roll with that because you need a veteran, I think, to at least get the season started.
Absolutely. Well, and based on everything we've seen in Cleveland history's past, how does like a rookie quarterback fare other than Baker Mayfield? You know what I mean? Like it's been pretty bad. And it's one of those things too, like the fan base is going to scream for either one of those rookies immediately. Maybe not Flacco. the fan base, as long as Flacco's the quarterback, they're going to be content. You know what I mean? We're living
as long as we're winning.
Yeah.
Now, if he's out there throwing picks and we're losing the first 3 games of the season.
Oh, yeah. It's fair game.
Fans could turn on him pretty quick.
The magic is left.
Right.
Yeah. Baltimore Raven quarterback, you know?
Or Indianapolis Colts quarterback.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So I guess continuing the quarterback situation then, I said who I think is, going to eventually be the starter. What do you guys think?
Are we saying starter week 1?
Not week 1, just like
just
at
long
some point.
term. I would hope.
Like, say we're 0-8 at the bye. Who are they trotting out week 9?
And we're
week
going
10?
to, I would say, honestly, and this is just based on, it's so early. We haven't seen any of these guys. If one of those guys steps ahead in camp, it's obviously going to be that guy. If it's right now, I would say Gabriel. That was their guy. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, that was the guy they drafted in the 3rd. That was the guy they had circled on their board. And I think they got lucky and eventually, like, hey, we're in the 5th round and Shador's sitting there. We got to take, this is stupid not to take him at this point, especially if he can be the franchise guy.
I will say, so just a little preview for the weekend. I did do a podcast earlier today with Jake Burns from Browns Film Breakdown, and just got his perspective of these guys from that lens, the film breakdown and all that stuff. And basically what he was talking about with Gabriel is, now he doesn't have a source for this. He just believes the Browns look at him like their opportunity to land a Brock Purdy. They think that, okay, Brock Purdy does not have elite tools. He is not an elite quarterback. But you put him in a system with a good defense around him, good weapons, a good offensive play caller, and you can move the offense. You can win games with Brock Purdy, and that's why he got paid. So they're hoping to land that same kind of thing. I think that was his thought process with Gabriel. And then, like with Shador, he basically said, with Shador at Colorado, he had to do it all.
Yeah.
He said that offense was not conducive to him whatsoever. It was put Shador on an island, go play hero ball, and he did.
Yeah.
So
I heard a crazy stat about Shador today that I didn't know. I think it was Calturt who said it. He said he might not have won a ton of games, but in the big games, if you go look at his stats against the best teams he played against ranked teams, he averaged almost 300 yards a game, 19 touchdowns, only 4 picks, and like a 70% completion percentage.
Right, and no run game.
No run game and terrible offensive line. And let's not forget Pat Shurmur calling plays.
Exactly, yeah. It was kind of like a dig at Pat Shurmur, too, and him saying that the Colorado offense was not great. And, the Browns, I would be shocked if it is not at least 55-45 run-heavy offense, probably 60-40. If a rookie's playing, because they went out and they used, and it's like Jake said today, they used a 2nd-round pick on Judkins. It's not like they waited till the 7th round to just grab another running back. They used a 4th-round pick to get Sampson, who's also a stud.
Right.
They're going to run the ball like crazy this year.
I'm so excited for the Browns running game.
I think if they're shielding their quarterback play this year, whether it's, I don't think you have to shield Flacco as much, but you still kind of do because the turnover thing. I think we could be an okay offense, and whoever is the quarterback has a good chance to succeed.
And what makes Joe so good, he's so good at that play action fake.
Yeah.
So if we have a strong run game, like it sells it even more. He's crazy good at that. When I look at the rookies, I think Shador is the best one. I was okay with if they would have taken him at 2.
Bro.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And we got him in the 5th. I'm intrigued by Dylan Gabriel. When they made the pick, I wasn't mad about it because I watched him play against Ohio State twice. And even I've said, like, I'm not a guy who's huge on you got to be a prototypical size, to be successful. But he is small. I think he is like shockingly small. I sent you guys the picture of him standing next to Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. He obviously looks small to Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a big dude.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is not a big guy. Bo Nix is also small for an NFL quarterback. And Dylan Gabriel looks like a middle school kid standing next to him. I mean, not many people his size are successful. That no. and I'm not saying he can't be, and I'm not mad that they went and they got him and that they love him. Like, I'm happy they picked their guy, but the deck is stacked against him to be successful. So he is very small.
Not to spoil too much of what Jake says on that podcast, but he talked a lot about the height, and he said the height's definitely a concern. Because what you just said, like quarterbacks of that stature, it's a lot more difficult. Drew Brees talked about his entire career about I have to find throwing windows. I can't always see over the line. For one, you got to be a hell of an anticipator. Like, you got to know the offense, know what the defense is doing, know where you're going with the ball. And then, he said that a guy like Russell Wilson, rarely will he throw over the middle of the field because he can't see it. The throwing windows are too hard. He's usually outside. But he said the college tape, whenever he was breaking down and going through Gabriel's, he's like, he throws over the middle all the time. Like, he's not afraid, and he can do it. Will it translate to the NFL? We'll see. But he did say that's for his height to not have any fears throwing over the middle was encouraging, at least.
I'll say what I'm not going to take anything away from that. When he's playing at Oregon, though, throwing over the middle, you just throw to a spot. Your guy's probably wide open, and because you have five-star receivers running around side you.
True, but he was also breaking down the game against Ohio State, which is a good defense.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's
yeah. How many Jackson State, Colorado games did these guys watch? I don't know why you're asking. We've literally been talking. I've said Shedeur is the best QB on our roster multiple times. It's like
I watched so much Shedeur film when I was breaking down him and Cam Ward in the process. Yes, we've watched a little bit.
I'll tell you what was why I'm getting higher and higher on Shedeur is, and I was already high on him after the rookie minicamp. First of all, I only heard one person say that Dillon Gabriel looked better, and it's a guy I don't trust as far as I could throw him. It was Grossy. But I heard Nate talk about how good he looked, and that's a guy who I do listen to, and he said he was impressive. Like, throws dimes on a rope, 57 yards in the air, on the money. He can put the ball wherever he wants it every single time. Like, everything I heard about him through the rookie minicamp was like the ball didn't hit the ground. Like, especially day 2 and day 3, it's like it was almost unreal how good he looked in those camp days. So, that being said, I don't care who wins the QB battle. I don't care at all. I just want one of them to be good.
Have you guys ever heard of rookie minicamp stat records before?
No, that was all just troll posting. There's no way.
Such a made up, like he shattered rookie minicamp records. I'm like, people keep track of shit at minicamp. And Jake had a good point too today. He said at these minicamps and these like early practices, you can't do that stat keeping stuff because these quarterbacks are going through like situations. The coach might say, hey, it's 3rd and 8. You got to try to get the ball into this window. Well, maybe they can't, but they got to try to see if they can do it. And situational stuff, like you got to pick up the first down. You can't throw to this guy, or whatever. So it's just so hard to know what the situation is.
Yeah. We're not in the huddle. We don't know what's being called. That being, like I was saying, I don't care who wins.
Right.
I just
want somebody.
I personally think it will be Shedeur, but I don't care if it is him or not, and I don't care if it's Dillon Gabriel, and I honestly don't care if it's Kenny Pickett.
Somebody.
Just
not Flacco.
Just give us 2 first-round picks next year that we can use on other things.
Yes.
Awesome.
Like I'm having a brain fart. Safety from Ohio State, Downs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to have Caleb Downs on this team next year instead of having to draft a quarterback.
Yep. And if DeJuan Jones doesn't pan out at left tackle, get your left tackle.
Yep.
Yeah,
or a number one receiver.
Or number one receiver. Yeah. If Judy's not still that guy or whatever.
Or just go get a number one receiver.
Pair him up.
Let's do this.
Yeah, I have no problem with just being filthy spoiled at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of throwing us a curveball here real quick.
Sure.
Love it.
What rookie do you think will have the biggest impact? Not necessarily quarterback.
No, instantly I say Quinshon Judkins.
I agree,
think he's
100%.
getting 250 to 300 carries this year. I think he's the workhorse back. He's gonna. I'm excited about him.
Me too. Really that's what I was gonna say. I think that's like
okay. So after Judkins, then
the rookie that will have the biggest impact.
Yeah.
I honestly.
It's tough for me because of the position. I want to say either Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Especially because I think he's going to have to step in and be the JOK pretty much right away, or Fannin. We don't have like that hybrid freak athlete like guy in the slot, yards after the catch kind of guy. So like that's.
Is it concerning that we're not talking about the 5th overall pick at all yet in this conversation?
Well, he's a lineman. I almost forgot who it was. No. I think Mason Graham's impact will be harder to notice just because of the position he plays.
If Miles has a career year, it will probably be because of what Mason Graham does in the interior.
Yes. I think like if you want to see the kind of impact he's having, you also have to watch the kind of year Miles is having.
Yeah.
If it's like, man, Miles is just getting free and getting home so much faster this year, it's probably because Mason Graham's eating up 2 guys. They can't double them and all that good stuff.
And what's the opposing offense doing on the ground?
Yeah. Or if they send the double anyway, still. I mean, if Mason Graham's that dude, like everybody's saying he is. They're saying he's a beast, he's a freak. He crashed the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Force him out towards Mile or whoever else.
I'm very excited for this draft class. And that's saying something considering how bummed I was after our first 2 picks. Like after our first 2 picks, I was ready to be like, I'm not a Browns fan anymore. I can't do this. This is just continued heartache. What are we doing? Yeah. And then but the draft class as a whole, I'm pumped to see what they do this year. Mostly because I think Graham, Schlesinger, Fannin, obviously Judkins, Sampson, like these guys we're going to see 5 to 6 rookies playing a lot this year.
Yep. Yeah, it's the first draft class where you come into the season saying every one of these guys is getting on the field at some point. The quarterbacks are the only ones that might have to wait a little bit. The first, 5 guys, they're getting on quick.
Yes, I expect them to be like day one starters probably.
Yeah, and I know Sampson will be in a rotation at running back, but he'll still be getting meaningful snaps and carries. I mean, that's going to be big.
I think he's going to surprise some people. I think that timeshare is going to be a little bit closer.
Who's the 2 back? Who's the number 2 running back? So Judkins, I think, is clearly going to be 1.
Yep.
Is Ford the number 2?
No.
And then Sampson's your change of pace, or is Sampson your number 2 and Ford's your change of pace? Like,
let's put it this way: Ford had to take the pay cut to stay around.
Yeah.
I think he's your change of pace, and I think they could use him intermittently, maybe change him out with Fannin in that slot role. I mean, he's a hell of a receiving back.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And he can get him in space. Well, the tough space is behind the line of scrimmage with Jerome Ford. If you get him in space beyond the line or around the line, let him go, man, he can be explosive.
I always say when we're talking about him, he reminds me so much of Duke Johnson, like as far as what he could be. You know what I mean? Like if you just let him get loose.
I think he's a lot faster though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jerome Ford?
No, Sampson.
Sampson's like 4.4 speed, somewhere in there, yeah. I think he's a little faster than Judkins, but I mean, Judkins is still...
No, I didn't mean I was talking about...
him and Ford?
Him and...
Sampson.
No, the running back you just said.
Oh, Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson.
Oh.
Yes, I was like...
He's definitely faster now.
Yeah. So we touched on JOK a little bit in Schlesinger. JOK is obviously not playing this year. How do you think that it impacts the defense? Does Carson just step in and we don't even notice the difference?
I don't know.
I think that at some point he will. I don't know if he has to, because if you look at what they did at linebacker this year, I mean, they brought back Devin Bush, they signed Jerome Baker, they still got Hicks, they still got Diabate and Winston Reed. Like the linebacker room it's sneaky good.
Did Devin Bush get in trouble?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, you mean from getting arrested?
Yeah.
Not that I've seen.
Okay. He's going to be on the team still. He's not getting in any trouble. What was it for again?
Simple assault and harassment. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. Okay. As far as being on the team.
Yeah, I think he's on the team. He might get a couple games.
He's fine.
Okay. I'm just so tired. How hard is it? Don't be just not get arrested? You know what I mean? I think everybody here has been arrested.
Whatever.
It's not that hard, but it's a little hard.
Sorry.
They're going to go digging into our past.
Yeah. Anyway, Schlesinger and JOK.
Yeah. No, I think you'll notice the JOK thing. I think what helps soften the blow is that we got to watch a lot of games without him. You know what I mean? So we saw what the defense is without him. Yeah. I think it's less about his not being there will affect us. It is more about how quickly Schlesinger can step into that role is what's going to help the defense.
I think it's a loss regardless. You know what I mean?
Go ahead. No, keep going.
I think the crazier thing is he was a bright light on the defense, and it's kind of sucks. There's a serious chance his career honestly might be over. You know.
So 2 years ago in 23, when he made the Pro Bowl, he had 101 total tackles with 20 tackle for loss. Last year, in half as many, so he played 16 games in 23, 8 games last year before the injury. He had 10 tackle for loss, so he was already halfway to what he had the year before, and he was at 61. He was on pace for 20-some more combined tackles. Yep. I mean, the guy is... he was just coming into being one of the elite linebackers, I think, in the NFL.
I went and watched a highlight tape after we drafted him, and he's like a missile.
Yeah.
Blocking punts and interceptions in the same game, just doesn't miss tackles. He's sideline to sideline. He just reminds me of, he's just like a football player. Mm-hmm. He plays hard, he hits hard, he's smart. I'm excited to see him. I think with him and Graham in the middle now, and I think Alex Wright is going to have a good year. Miles, obviously, the defense can bounce back this year, I think, in a big way.
I think so too. With JOK, another thing that I had heard from somebody talking about his injury said that you have to have a certain amount of strength or exhibit a certain amount of strength in your neck to be able to really play football. And I guess there's just no doctor that's comfortable clearing him. He just doesn't have that strength back, and they don't know if he will.
Yeah.
Which really sucks.
I'd be shocked if he ever plays again.
I know. I think this is people said, is this our Ryan Shazier?
He's at least he's like walking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm glad he's okay. Like health wise, he should be able to, be fine for life, which that's what matters. But it just sucks as a selfish Browns fan. I want him on the field, man.
It really sucks too. Like that was a guy that we were hoping we would draft, and then we made the dramatic draft move to go get him.
Yep.
And then he was like, it's like he was just starting to turn that corner.
Got a contract, was on his way.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Like to
that playoff game in Houston when nobody showed up except for him.
Yeah.
It was like, dude.
And it was like, man, this guy's going to be a staple of the defense for a while. And then just the injury sucks. Yeah. But I'm excited to see what Schlesinger can do.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Guys, is your wedding band old, outdated, or just not the same taste you had when you were younger? Or hey, maybe you're about to get married, but you don't want to deal with the salespeople at the jewelry stores. Manly Bands has the best wedding bands made specifically for men. They have the classic, timeless gold and white gold styles, but they also have rings made from platinum, black zirconium, tungsten, titanium, even materials like meteorite and dinosaur bone. Yes, your wedding ring could be made from a dinosaur fossil. That is a real thing. They also have different ring collections, like their Jack Daniels rings made from actual Jack Daniels whiskey barrels. They also have Lord of the Rings and DC Comics band collections. Head over to manlybands.com/dogs and take advantage of their 30% off sale with free shipping. Plus, use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out for another 10% off your order. Now, every Manly Band comes with a free silicone ring, and if you don't know your ring size, that's okay. You can order a free ring size chart from Manly Bands to make sure that you know exactly the right size before you order. And then, if you get your ring and it doesn't fit just right, you can always return it or exchange it without any hassle. And I know this because I like my rings to be a little more loose, and the first band that I got was just a little too snug for the way I like to wear it, so I exchanged it, and the whole process was quick, easy, and I had my new ring in no time. And now, Manly Bands is even accessorizing men beyond just your wedding rings with their chain necklaces and chain bracelets made for men by men. And if you need groomsmen gifts or anything else, Manly Bands has you covered with their barware, whiskey glasses, flasks. They even have customized coasters and flight trays. So skip the jewelry stores, avoid the salespeople, and get a wedding band that was designed for you. Manlybands.com/dogs to get 30% off, free shipping, plus get an extra 10% off when you use code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out.
I think we have another voicemail then too. Want to get to?
Yeah. This one is from Kane.
Yo, what's up? It's Kane giving a message from Dublin, Ireland. Just want to say I love the coverage of the draft. Love draft season. But I'm just going to call it now. The first that we got off the Jags for next year, it's going to be traded again. You don't want it for next year. We want it for 2027. We want Jeremiah Smith.
Well, there's your wide receiver one.
So I think we were talking about this before. I think you probably have to have like the number 1 or 2 pick to get Jeremiah Smith. I don't know if there's anything we can do to go that. Everybody's going to want him.
Well, I think he might come out by the time he's done with college. He might very well could come into the NFL as like the best prospect at wide receiver ever. Ever.
He's a freak. It's insane. Like he makes big people look small, and he's so fat. It's unbelievable. He's head and shoulders better than everybody that maybe I've ever. He's better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
And that he's better than Marvin Harrison right now, I think.
And it's just crazy. I don't know if there's any way. I think the only way to guarantee that you're going to get Jeremiah Smith is to make sure you don't win any games next year.
I guess let's say you find one of your guys on this team, right? A quarterback, and next year you don't have to take a quarterback. And maybe we're still a ways out. Let's say we're still looking at next year ends and we go, a lot of holes again. I mean, if they trade back one of those picks, you still have another one. I think there's going to be serious team needs, though. I mean, we have team needs, I feel like, going into this season.
I think you're definitely going to need offensive linemen next year.
Sure.
Especially because if we have another not great season, this could be Joel Petonius last year.
Oh, for sure. I think it probably is either way.
Yeah,
be my guess.
Unless we surprise people and like maybe we make a playoff run, which okay, but I think if we were to maybe make a playoff run and it seems like maybe we lose in the playoffs or something and like by 3 points and it seems like, man, we're right there. Just one more, like we're maybe Joel will run it back, but I would not be shocked if this is his last year. We're going to need guard. We potentially are going to need a left tackle. Sure. Like right tackle is going to be a need soon. Conklin's getting up there. It's just we're going to need to reload the offensive line in a bad way.
One thing I will say about the line, one guy that I'm really interested to watch this year and see how things go. He might not even ever start if we don't have injuries, but it's Tevin Jenkins, the guy we signed from the Bears.
Yeah.
Because he was a starter for them, and it was kind of everybody thought that he was going to sign somewhere to be a starter. So I was thinking, if Zach Zinter continues to develop, and maybe they're like, hey, Joel's probably going to retire, probably going to trade Wyatt. Maybe they extend Tevin Jenkins at some point during the season, and then all of a sudden you got 2 guards, which that's good, but we are going to need tackles in a bad way.
Not to change the subject, but trade Shedeur, the Bears. Caleb don't want to be there, and the Browns don't want Shedeur. What about the Browns giving up an extra pick and moving up to trade Shedeur? Says they don't want Shedeur. If they didn't want Shedeur,
they wouldn't have drafted.
He wouldn't be on the team. Nobody put a gun to our heads and said you have to take Shedeur Sanders. They moved up to get him. They clearly want him on the team. This is the kind of stuff that just like makes us. We can't take Shedeur fans serious.
Because number one, they're not Browns fans. We talked about this.
You're not serious when you say stuff like this. If they didn't want him, he just wouldn't be on the team.
I've seen a lot of like trade him to the Saints and stuff like that. I'm like, they took Tyler Shuck in the second.
Yeah,
they passed Shedeur a million times. Why are people mad at the Browns for drafting him?
Yeah, they're the team that finally drafted him.
It's crazy.
Why are you still talking about needing a QB? You have your QB1 right now. We're not. We were just talking about offensive linemen. I can't do this.
And the thing is, we don't know. We don't know if we have QB1 at all. We have 4 guys that are going to compete to see if they can start. We have a 3rd-round rookie and a 5th-round rookie. I'm sorry. You got to be real about this. How often do 3rd-round and 5th-round quarterbacks turn into elite-level guys in the NFL?
Now, the only thing I'll push back on this is Shedeur is not a regular 5th-round
I understand that. But you still have to take it into account. I'm not saying it can't happen. I hope it does. But to just crown somebody, even Joe Flacco, to just crown somebody QB1 right out the gate is like, guys, we haven't even started practice yet. Like, Come on.
Right. Shedeur is bar none the best QB in your QB room, and it's not even close.
Are there any Browns fans still in the chat?
I wouldn't say that it's not even close. But, again, if you've been here longer than, 3 minutes, I've said that I think he's the best one on our team. I'm not a Browns fan. We know.
Yes. You don't have to tell us. Trust me. Yes. We know.
But no. So I just like the comments thing is just, it's wild to me. We can't talk about anything else. And if you're talking about linemen, you guys don't want Shedeur. If we're talking about Shedeur, you guys don't deserve Shedeur. If we're talking about one of the other quarterbacks on our team, you guys are so stupid. Shedeur should just leave. You guys don't even want him, even though you gave up picks and drafted him. You sound stupid. My God. Shedeur is a first-round QB that was drafted in the 5th round. That is where I will disagree. If he was a first-round quarterback, he would have been drafted in the 1st round. I don't think he's a 5th-round talent, but if he was good enough, if he was that good, teams would have still drafted him. The collusion thing, we gave $230 million to a quarterback that was suspended for 87 sexual assault violations. Teams employ terrible individuals all the time just because they're good at football. They would not have not drafted somebody because he seemed high on himself in team interviews if the play on the field said he was the guy who was going to instantly turn around your franchise. And just because I say that, again, let me preface that by saying I think he's the best one on our team and will eventually be the starter. But don't tell me he was a 1st-round guaranteed pick and the whole league was out colluding. No, these guys don't care, and they wouldn't be doing any other owners any favors. By what point would they be proving? You know what I mean? They're not doing each other favors. That's such a dumb argument.
No, I mean, and again, going back to what I talked with Jake Burns today, check out that episode on Sunday. You guys will see the full conversation. But I asked him his opinion on why Shedeur fall so far. Why didn't any of these quarterback needy teams take him until we took him in the 5th? And he said he thinks that him not having an agent, him not, doing workouts or, testing or anything for any teams outside the top 3 or 4. Originally he did do that. Just kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And then he said that the tools on the field are good, but they're not good enough for a team to say, we'll bypass all that other stuff and take him that high. And that's fair. I mean, coming out of college, nobody's tools are as high as they're going to be anyway. So we're hoping that he continues to develop and get better throughout camp in the summer.
Yeah. Like, it's just, why are you guys, we're not butthurt. It's just like, it's hard. Like, it's frustrating when you can't talk about anything else on, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about Mason Graham and you're talking about how I don't like Shedeur, even though 100 times in this episode I've talked about how I like Shedeur. So, he's the all-time leader in college football completion history. Why didn't he go in the first round? I'm pretty sure like Colt McCoy was somewhere up there and in like the most winning quarterback ever at one point. He was a 3rd rounder. I don't remember everybody talking about the league colluding against Colt McCoy. You know what I mean? Right. And he played at a way bigger program and was way more successful in terms of wins and losses. So that's why. Like, the world's not out to get you. Like, the victim mentality is crazy. Really but all right. What else do we have to get into? Anything?
Oh, I don't know. Do you guys, I mean, is it surprising to anybody that Jed Wills still is not signed?
No, I saw your post about somebody was calling him quality depth.
Yeah, it was NFL Notifications, the account on X, and they said the Dolphins have reached out to free agent tackle Jed Wills. They had so much wrong here. They said Jed was Tua's left tackle. No, he wasn't. He was right tackle at University of Alabama and would serve as a solid depth piece to a team that desperately needs it. And I said, I think we're using the phrase solid depth piece a little loosely here, aren't we?
Yes. I was pushing back with some people because they're like, the Browns screwed him by moving him, switching positions. And I'm like, well, we just talked to a Hall of Fame left tackle who said a couple months is plenty of time to make that adjustment. And it wasn't because we switched his positions. It was because his effort was awful.
Jed's career if you go back and look at his rookie season, he played very well.
Yeah.
For the 10th overall pick, moving over to left tackle, he played very well in the offensive line. The next year was still pretty good, but it wasn't quite as good. And if you look at the stats and the numbers and stuff, it just went down.
It's like he started reading his own newspaper clippings, or I don't know what it was.
I think he just got lazy. He probably doesn't want to play anymore.
I've never seen an offensive lineman whiff on a block and then just turn around and stand there and watch the quarterback, not even run over and help the quarterback stand up, not like try to get in the guy's way and just, I missed. I guess I'll just stand here and take this play off. And he would do it, multiple times in a game. You have to be really bad at offensive line for fans to notice how bad you are.
Yes.
I can only think of like 2 in my life, Jed Wills and Cam Irving.
I knew you were
You know what I mean? Cam Irving is one of the worst offensive linemen I've ever watched play professional football. He was so bad that you noticed him play in and play out. That's like the company that Jed Wills is in. You watch a game and you just consistently notice how bad he's playing. And it's like, man, most people who are watching, they're housewifing. They're watching the ball. They're not paying. And you just can't stop seeing how bad this guy is. And it's like, he's playing a position we don't even usually notice or watch for when we're watching the TV broadcast. And I can't help but noticing how bad he's playing over and over and over again. And why is he always just standing there? Why does he look confused and lost? Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the big thing too, coming off that injury and then the whole business decision thing, it was just like, all right, this guy doesn't want to play anymore. He definitely doesn't. I would be shocked if he signs anywhere sticks anywhere.
That's fair.
But
I can't wait to see the egg on your face when Shedeur brings Cleveland to relevancy. Oh, wait, he has brought Cleveland to relevancy. My head hurts. My head hurts because all we've talked about is how much we like Shedeur. 2 of the people said we wanted him to take him at 2. I've said I think he's the best one, and we've all said we don't care who wins the quarterback competition. We just want somebody to win it, but I think it's going to be Shedeur. How does that make us anti-Shedeur?
You know what? Mary Kay posted a thing the other day saying, he officially signed his rookie contract, 4-year, $4.6 million deal. And it was like I forget, $50-some million difference from if they'd have taken him at 2. And people were like, oh, she's just a salty bitch. I can't believe she would say something like that. And I even had to say something to somebody. I was like, she advocated hard for the Browns to take Shedeur too for a long time.
So did I. I'm pretty sure so did Justin.
We all did for a while.
Yes. So like this is like you guys don't like him. He's the only reason you're relevant. But first of all, the Browns have been here a lot longer and they're going to continue to be here longer. We like him. You guys sound so fucking stupid. My God. I don't know. Do I have to say it in a different language?
Probably. And over. But I can't wait for these guys to just finally get on the field so we can quit talking about hypotheticals and actually
I think that's the crazy thing is we've literally just finished rookie camp and it's completely just. We haven't even seen them all play together.
No.
We gotta.
I'm just
have a little patience on this.
I'm just so sick of Browns like fandom though being. First it was like Baker fans and Baker not fans, Baker bros. Then it was the Watson thing, and now it's like we're infiltrated by people who they don't. It's like they're watching in mute. They're just typing pro Sanders stuff without even hearing what we're saying. As we're talking good about Shedeur, they're telling us about how we're not talking good about the Shedeur. Yeah. It's like,
well, last year can
we just be a normal fucking fan base for once in my life?
If you didn't want Joe Flacco last year, it was, you hate the Browns. And there's just these groups, these pockets of people that
oh my God,
support these.
Infuriating.
But so speaking of these guys getting on the field, I just wanted to go through the schedule real quick. So we're entering into phase 3 finally of this offseason program. We're not even into the freaking preseason stuff yet, but they get 10 days of OTAs, organized team activities, no live contact permitted. So just remember that, everybody. They're not allowed to hit. 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 drills are going to be done. The workout dates are May 27, 28, 29, and then the next set is June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then mandatory veteran minicamp is June 10th, 11th, and 12th. So we've got a while here before we can actually evaluate anything. Yeah. And then they go on that long hiatus until the end of July, which we're going to sit around here and do this every week.
I just need it to fast forward.
I know.
I just need it to be here. I need on the field football to be happening for us to actually talk about. I'm so I'm tired of the speculation. As much as I love draft season, I'm just so tired of it.
I love draft season, but once it's over, then I want results. I want to see it on the field. I hate this in between period.
But I think that pretty much wraps up everything we wanted to talk about today, and some stuff we didn't want to talk about, but here we are. Before we get out of here, though, again, I just want to give you guys another reminder about the Tuscarawas County Browns Backers event, Wabash Lanes, June 21st, noon to 5. Come bowl with some Browns legends, Sugar Dre Donovan. It's going to be a good time. Get autographs, pictures, all that cool stuff. If you want to play fantasy football season with us, the signups are going to start June 1st. Head to jointhedogs.com to become an official Dog Pack member so you can play fantasy football with us. It's a good time for everybody involved. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. Huge shout out to Joe Thomas for coming on the show last week. That was, a career highlight for all of us. So, again, thank you guys for being here. And I can't wait to get to some actual football. We'll see you guys sometime next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter. And most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients. Plus, it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.